Day 63 coming at you with slightly more energy than day 62. That's right, day 63 of 100 Days of Making Comics with me, Gazbot, now with extra gusto. Gusto! So it's about 12:10, and for some unknown reason, I got up early today. Got a good night's sleep last night, which is the night before, which is good, because last night, not so great. Wasn't as bad as when I was doing the convention, but for some reason I was having trouble going to sleep, and I didn't fall asleep till probably close to 3 a.m., yet I got up at 9. I don't know if I heard a noise outside or what, but then I kind of was like, whatever, I'm gonna get up. So it's not so bad getting 6 hours sleep when I'm just sort of doing house stuff. It would be different if I had to get up, drive, and be on for people at a convention for hours on end. But as I had been doing when I was in my, God Beast mode, I am sort of still looking at that list. I'm not making it so official, partially because I want some flexibility, partially because it's fun to make those videos, but it takes a lot of extra time. I end up documenting things that would normally, the editing takes longer. So in a weird way, if I have the same list, but don't call it that, then I get more done. And so I'm kind of trying to keep up that ethic, keep up that momentum, and jog in place a little bit. It's weird, I'm doing this, but my feet aren't leaving the ground. Like, this is jogging in place. This is dancing. Yeah. By the loosest definition of dance, by the way. So I have spent an hour and a half doing things. What I had been doing was an hour of like housework type stuff, half hour of business type stuff. I kind of combined them. I spent an hour and a half. I did dishes, I took out garbage, I did that kind of house stuff. But I had all the boxes of things from the show that were sitting in the living room. So I brought them into the office, I put some away in the bedroom. The other stuff I didn't put away is my prints and buttons and things like that, because I need to do inventory because I'm out of almost everything. Plus I need to order some new buttons that I had never made before. So I put away what I could, I started organizing everything else, and I inventoried all my pins and made up an order list. I haven't ordered it yet. Some of them I have to actually format. And then I still need to do the prints later on, but I stopped because I want to get to other things like artwork, etc. So I'm going to move on to phase next, and it'll be something involving drawing. I'm going to go in the office room. That's where you'll see me next, in the office room. Okay, I'm at my desk, but I got sidetracked. It's been about a half hour, and I was doing more art, businessy stuff. One of the things I was doing was ordering ink for my Copics because I ran out on two of my grays and some others, and I realized that I am now taking some color commissions, and that could be very problematic, or grayscale could be very problematic if I don't have the colors I need. So I kind of prioritized that. I keep cannibalizing out of the theoretical 4 hours I'm going to spend on the horror, and that's what I've been doing. And I was about to switch back into art mode, and I saw this link, and I got sidetracked.
そして光り輝くレーザーブレードを究極再現、その魅力を体験していただいた。レーザーブレードねの数々を収録。
教えていいですか？
Okay, 1 hour done on the Horror 4. Page 10, panel 4 complete. And here it is, more exciting library action as Boots is sitting in front of the terminal but reading a book because she's absorbing all kinds of multimedia. And I'm trying to establish the passage of time with these panels, pardon my hand. So here I have, a 12 o'clock, I don't know if that's an actual clock or I'll just put it as a caption. And I went back and added in here, you can barely see it, I'll make it a little bit bigger, but it says 1:30. Here I don't have a clock, but I'm trying to show that the sun is starting to come down a little bit and, little dust mites in the air and stuff. And then, later I'll have the librarian announce what time it is. But this panel, it wasn't that difficult. This is a little weird. It's technically in perspective, but it looks a little awkward. I shifted it. I may or may not go back to it. And I wanted to give her a pose that wasn't just sitting. I wanted to, have her kind of scrunched up and, sort of in one of those weird poses people get in when they've been studying for hours that don't necessarily make sense. So I have an hour in. That certainly hits my 30 minutes. I'm trying to do more, and I may come back to it. I was planning on doing 2 or 3 right now, but I'm going to stop because I have some commission work that I need to take care of. And I did my hour, so if I don't get back to it, hey, that's done for, what I have to do, but I think I should work on other things and come back to it if I have time. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So these are 2 pencil headshots, which I was commissioned by the same person to do at the San Francisco Comic-Con this past weekend, but they were only going to be there that one day, and I said I wouldn't be able to have it done by the end of the day.
they said they were willing to pay the shipping, so I said okay. So I took them home and I shipped them out today. So hopefully they'll get it pretty quick. This first one is a kaiju called Baragon, and this is the appearance in the GMK Godzilla movie, which is Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah. He's an older monster kaiju that was reimagined, and that's a common thing with the more popular and even some of the less popular kaiju that they get reimagined several times. Usually more detailed, better costumes, and usually more powerful and severe and bad ASS looking. I don't know why I spelled that. Um, but normally when I do a pencil commission, I kind of do a really rough sketch and then erase the whole thing and then go back in. This one, that was my plan, but I was looking at a reference picture. I had several, but I was basing it mainly on this one where his mouth was open and his sort of ear flaps were forward and kind of a roar because sometimes they're flipped back. And I don't know, it just started looking correct right away. So I have this dark it's a number two pencil. I was calling number two. That's incorrect. A number two pencil is what would be called HB in terms of softness, the way they grade pencils. This was probably more of a softer than that, but it was a little nub, and I didn't, like I said, plan on drawing the whole thing with it, but it was just sort of coming out in a good way, so I kept going. And one of the problems I have when I do pencil sketches of heads, especially a more detailed character like this that has a lot of texture and stuff, it kind of needs that texture to look like the character. And then if you put all that texture in and don't put some shading and some drop shadows to delineate the different planes, it looks wrong or off. And so sometimes I feel like people get as detailed or as good a drawing, if not better, when they get a pencil sketch. That's just me using my electric eraser to put in highlights in the eyes, which I like to do, especially in pencil drawings. I also do the same thing with the teeth to make them look more white. But I feel that sometimes people get as good or better in terms of detail and work I put in a pencil sketch as an ink sketch, which is counterproductive because the whole point is this is supposed to be cheaper, and if they want inks or grays or whatever, it costs more. But if I could have added some grayscale or some color, I wouldn't have had to go so crazy with the line work. And arguably, I just shouldn't have put as much line work, and it should have been more of a simple drawing. But then I feel like it wouldn't look like the monster, and I take pride in my work, and I'm an idiot. But also, this is the kind of work I especially like. I had a bunch of Godzilla stuff, so they wanted me to do a Godzilla monster, and I feel like that also helps. When someone asks me to do, a My Little Pony, no disrespect to My Little Pony, I actually think it's a fine cartoon, but it's not really my thing. And so, while I will do my best, it's not quite the same as if you ask me to do something I enjoy that's in my wheelhouse of what I'm presenting as art. And more, I was talking to some artist online. I forget who. I think it was a guy named Emo, actually, Emonic, I should say. And he had a bunch of skulls, and he got commissioned to draw like a bunny or something like that. And that happens. I'll get asked to draw superheroes. I don't mind doing superheroes at all. But I used to get it a lot more, where I would just get whatever like draw Shrek, and it's like I don't mind doing that, especially if you're going to pay me, and I have no problem with Shrek. But what in my art that I'm showing you made you think I should be the guy to do Shrek? And I think that's a case of people just liking art and wanting art. And sometimes they want a different artist's take on a certain character. Some people have a sketchbook with nothing but Shrek and they want a million different versions. But I don't think that's what I was getting sometimes. Sometimes it was just, oh, you're an artist. This is a thing I want to draw this thing. And they're not really taking into account the type of artist I am. And there's Baragon all done. Hopefully they like it. And then the next one is, again, for the same person, is Shin Gojira, which is New Godzilla, which is the new Japanese one, not the American Legendary Pictures one that came out in 2014, but the one that came out already in Japan this year and is supposed to be coming here with limited release in October. I have not yet seen it. I've seen snippets in the trailer and I've seen the images from the toy and other things, but I'm trying to wait until it's on the big screen to see it. A lot of people have downloaded it or watched it streaming online. Mostly illegally, but I want to see it on the big screen. I've never seen a Japanese Godzilla movie on the big screen in its first run, and so, oh, by the way, I in a second decide I don't like this. Yeah, and you know what? I'm just realizing as I'm looking at this that I flipped it over and I give them this, and so they're getting this sketch, but they have the aborted sketch on the back. I just realized. But yeah, I didn't like that point of view. The Shin Gojira, I am not sold on. I don't particularly like this version. It's sort of like a zombie weird burn victim kind of monster, and having not seen the movie, it's hard to really get a handle on it. So like I said, I was looking at reference pictures and I was doing that other one and I felt like maybe I was just looking at a bad picture. The mouth is crazy. It goes really far back in a way that doesn't really make sense with anatomy. And I mean, not that Godzilla makes sense with anatomy anyway, but usually you could kind of base it on a sort of a T-Rex or an alligator or something, whereas this is like, I don't know, more like a worm or a snake or something, but it's it doesn't fit the body and whatever. So again, I went in. This one I liked better, the pose. It was sort of showing the side, and it has these crazy teeth, which are kind of needle-like, kind of like a shark, where there's lots of them and there's different rows, but much smaller. And I thought this angle worked a lot better when I started working on it. And as you can see, I'm erasing and re-erasing because unlike Baragon, I was like, oh, okay, this is what this character looks like, and here's a few iconic shots. There's only like so many images of Shin Gojira that even exists to choose from, and they're all very different, and it's kind of a weird new design, so I was having a hard time getting a handle on it, even this better version that I liked. And actually, after drawing it, I like the design a little bit better because I think I understand what they're going for a little bit more. And I won't really know if I have an opinion until after I see the movie, which I very much am looking forward to, but I will wait. And my birthday's in October, so hey, it'll be a birthday present to me from Japan. But yeah, I ended up being happy with how this turned out. But as you can see, he's got kind of a lumpy, broken, cancerous, like zombie flesh sort of exterior. And so I had to make sure to go in and put some shading in between those lumps because it's not like scales. It's not like your traditional one where it's just skin texture. It's like lumps. It's three-dimensional bumps and crevices and cracks in the skin and everything. So yeah, once again, going as detailed, if not more so than if they had gotten just a color picture or a grayscale or ink. So I don't know. I've thought about, I think I talk about this in the clip coming up, so I'm probably repeating myself, but I've thought about adding a caveat that if you want a monster picture, it might cost more, but I don't know. I don't want to discourage people from getting this kind of stuff because this is like my favorite kind of stuff to draw. Plus, I think the way I'll balance it out is maybe I'll take these two characters. I'm giving them these originals, but maybe I will sort of use them as the basis for some headshots for some new prints or something, so that this will sort of be the preliminary drawing for a new final piece of art that I use. And there's some atomic breath, and in a minute you'll see me go and find electric eraser and blast it out. Rah! And then I also decided to outline it a little bit. And yeah, there's Shin Gojira all done. Scree-onk.
Well, okay, that was about an hour and a half, which means theoretically I spent 45 minutes on each of those pencil head sketches, which I get $10 each for. That's not a good rate. Now, in my defense, some of it was doing research, looking up stuff, because these were characters, monsters, kaijus that I had not drawn before. And I also had to pause once or twice for other reasons, so maybe it was a half hour each, which is still a $20 an hour rate, which isn't terrible, but it is, I've talked about this before, the sort of difficulty of pricing, where if somebody wants a Spider-Man head in pencil, $10, I could have that done very quick. 10 minutes maybe, because there's, just a couple lines, you're done. If somebody wants Superman, it's going to take a little longer. If somebody wants Wonder Woman, it's going to take a little longer. If somebody wants a specific version of Godzilla that I need to reference, get all those little details, it takes way longer. But then what do I do? Say $10 for a head sketch unless it's Godzilla or it's, so I don't know. Plus, I enjoy doing these. It's just time consuming is the only problem. Heading to the post office to mail out this package, which has the 2 commissions you saw me do earlier. Then I'm going to the bank. That was on my to-do list yesterday, but I didn't actually get around to doing it. And I need to do it, as I said, because I have cash and checks to deposit. Also because I've just spent a bunch of money. I ordered a bunch of Copic ink and markers, and I also just ordered about $100 worth of bags for shows. And I'm going to be buying some paper and prints in the next soon as well, and just a lot of art-related supply stuff. I'm gonna get in the car. That I should have funding in the bank for. And I'm also going to stop in Target to get a cappuccino. Well, I'm back from outside, and I can tell you, I've been doing a good job of putting effort in, of being productive, of not being lazy, of going today. But I've been having a hard time sticking to the schedule, which is good that I'm not, doing a strict schedule, because I'm getting lots of stuff done, but not necessarily the things I thought I'd get done. For example, if you look down here, I still have all kinds of prints and stuff laid out, and I just don't want to leave that laying around. I can't really let the cats in here. So while I've already spent more time than I'd like on business, art stuff, I kind of have to put more time in to finish that up, which is, again, why I'm glad I worked on the comic earlier, because if nothing else, I got that work on the comic done. Similarly, I went to the bank to drop off that big wad of cash and the checks. And for those that aren't following, I don't normally have a big wad of cash. I just did a show and I had cash I needed to deposit. But I grabbed what I thought was the wad of cash, but it was about $100 in singles and fives and tens, which is the $100 I use. I never spend it. I get it from a show and I put it with my art supplies, and it's like kind of a constantly recycling $100, so that I never have to worry about not having change or money when I go to a show, because that's happened to me in the past. But that is not the wad I meant to pick up. I meant to pick up the wad of 20s and 50s to deposit, and I didn't. So I deposited my check, so that'll cover, I was talking about getting art supplies and things like that, so I'm fine with that. But I still have this big wad of cash that I'll have to take to the bank another day. And I would prefer to not take it on my bike because just on the off chance somebody decided to mess with me or rob me, it's more likely to happen on my bike than in my car, I think. And so having that much money in cash in my pocket doesn't make me thrilled. The other thing I was realizing is I ordered a bunch of art stuff. I need to also create and order some sort of card, some sort of postcard takeaway thing that I want to have for the next show, because it's in October, which is when I wanted to have issue 2 done. Realistically, that's not going to happen. I'm still aiming for that, but it's not going to happen. And even if it does, fine, then I have this card. And I want to have a giveaway card that basically, because I give out my business card, but I don't think that's great. I think that's if somebody wants to hire me for a job, that's good. But for somebody that could be a potential, and just for lack of a better word, fan, and again, I'm not a huge fan of that word either, but someone who might be interested in my art, want to follow what I do, etc., they might not want to hire me for a job, but maybe they're interested in my YouTube videos, or, you know, want to see what I have on my Etsy store, or keep up on the fact that I might have another issue of the comic coming out soon. So I want to have a little thing that just sort of has my social media contacts on it, and, you know, maybe a picture of the horror, like to remind people, because a lot of times I sell prints, and people don't even know I do a comic. So this is a way, like, I could just chuck it in every bag. You know, maybe I'll get enough that I could put some on the table, the freebie table, and I want to at least have that done for Kamikaze. I think I have another small show coming up before then, which would be nice, but at the very least for Kamikaze. But I'm getting off track. I stopped at the mailbox on the way home, even though I stopped on the way out, and I went to the post office, but here's why. I got a notification of a package. Now, I don't normally do unboxings, as it were, but I think wait a minute, I thought I knew what this was. What? Okay. I think this is some Power Ranger toys that I traded to somebody on a group. For those of you that have seen my other videos, I went to Power Morphicon, which is Power Rangers convention, and while I overall had a good time, I bought this VIP package that I wasn't thrilled with. Actually, I got this shirt there. And I had some extra stuff in it that I didn't particularly want, and I traded one of those things. It was an expensive coin that I didn't want for some toys. And I think that's what this is, but oddly, it has a copy of Red Eye in it. So either, yeah, and the movie's really in there. It's an old Blockbuster video. That's okay. You know, the odd thing to use as a packing material. Hopefully there are Power Ranger toys in here. Okay, they're good. It looks good. There are. All right, so as you can see, there are 3, which was what we agreed on. I'm not 100% sure of the condition. Like, I know that they don't have accessories and stuff, but hopefully they're not in terrible condition. And this is, yeah, he's actually in okay shape. He's got a little chip on his chest. This is Ecliptor. He is from Power Rangers in Space, which is one of the best seasons by most people's estimate, and he's one of my favorite villains of all time. He's got this, this is for his sword hand, or if he's like, oh, I did it backwards. There's a way to do this, I know it. If he wants like a fist pump, yo. And he was like a bad guy that was kind of a good guy. And actually, it looks like he's got some dings on his face that I'm not sure if that is the character or if he's been damaged. But choosers, beggars cannot be. Reverse that, and you'll know what I mean. He normally comes with a sword and a cape, which he doesn't have, which I'm bummed about, but having him at all is good for my collection. Sir, okay, this is another figure. This is not the version I thought it was going to be. This is Blue Centurion, known in Super Sentai as Signal Man. Haha, he's basically a robot cop, and he's super cheesy, and I love him for that. I like robots, I like cheesy things. It looks like he has some sort of action gimmick, like there's a key. In Turbo, a lot of things had keys because it was very car-based. This does nothing when I turn it, so it probably needs a key inside, which I don't have. I imagine it's some sort of, maybe it's this, like a quick draw. Yeah, it's like a quick draw, but I don't have the gun, so now he's just walking around like this, like I don't know what, like a guy that does this, who's a robot cop. He's an alright looking figure. I don't like, I like action features, but only if they work, and the way, in the state he's in, it doesn't work. He's got interestingly articulated legs, because he comes with a motorcycle, I believe. There is a version that comes with the motorcycle that is not this one. He's a little bit shorter, he's a little bit thinner, he's not so boxy looking. That is the version I thought I was getting, but, you know, I was getting rid of something I didn't want, so I can't be that picky. I wonder if this lights up, though, because his head doesn't turn, and it looks kind of clear on the inside. I don't know if you can see that. So I wonder if he's supposed to have... No, there's nothing for a battery. I don't know. He's all right. I'm much happier with Ecliptor. And then this is Robo Race. Oh, man, he's in... Yeah, this is in worse shape than I thought, too. I should have... I was so eager to trade that coin for something I wanted because I didn't want the coin, and I was trying to get my money's worth out of something that I felt I didn't. I should have asked for more pictures. I don't think the guy cheated me, but I think I didn't do my due diligence. This is Robo Racer, which is this guy's Zord. This would actually be gigantic. And normally it has 3 little signal things like on his chest here. And I asked if they were missing, and he's like, oh, it works because there's electronics, it works, but the little red thing's busted off. And so I misunderstood. You can see there's a red piece here, and it's actually, this is broken off. I thought it was missing the piece here that I could potentially find, but it's literally broken, and there's some scratches, and one of the stickers missing. This one is in the worst shape of all of them, but, you know, if I turn him into a robot, I guess he'll be okay. The one thing I like about these older toys and Transformers is they're super easy to transform. Like, I've never owned this, never transformed it, and in like 10 seconds I have him transformed. Oh, I like that. I like that very much. That's cool. That's fantastic. I wish he was not in such bad shape, but I am a huge fan of his light and sound feature. Yeah. So see, there he is. It's my buddy. We match. Hey, do you want to go to play soccer? There's no soccer when I'm around. I'll eclipse the sun. You'll be in the dark. That is not. He doesn't have that kind of power at all. He doesn't talk like that either. None of them do. Can you believe it? And then, what? Look, it's an out-of-town, non-resident park beach pass. For some reason. I think this gentleman was just having a fun time with packing. This is unfortunate. I feel like I should want to watch this because it's a free movie. This is taking too long. This is the best one. The end. So while I was out running errands and bringing new toys home, I got a message from Q that there had been a horrible accident. Looking up here at my Sky Commanders, there is a snapped connector. If I go down here, that seems okay. What snapped? Oh, no! It's amazing he's still hanging on. He's hanging on because it's wrapped up in the other strings. Otherwise, he would have fallen. But on his way down, he knocked down my Filmation Skeletor, which thankfully did not break, because this is one of my favorite figures. And the bummer is, I got these Sky Commanders a while ago, and what I like about, well, A, I had them as a kid, and I think they're gimmicky and ridiculous and bright, and I love them. But I loved making this sort of lattice work of aerial stuff just hanging there as sort of like decoration that doesn't take up shelf space and blah, 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 blah. I love them. And not too long ago, I had one there that had the same problem. The same thing. This plastic must have just gotten old and lost its flexibility, so it's snapping. So clearly, I have other ones that are likely to break soon, and I'm going to have to do something. I'm going to have to find some sort of solution, because most of these were bought new, like, you know, in box or in mint condition. It's not like they were old ratty ones or anything, so. Well, yeah, I don't know what to do. Age taking flexibility away from everything, including humans. Time. Before I go into next phase, which is basically just inventory prints and stuff, it's about dinner time. Q has someone coming over, they're going to watch some TV together, so rather than being there intruding on them, and they're getting their own dinner, they're picking up Chick-fil-A. I didn't want that. I made myself some veggie burgers. Here's the key to a good veggie burger. If you're a vegetarian and a picky eater with the palate of like an 8-year-old, the key is to put a lot of junk on it, because the veggie burger itself is like bleh, you know, it's eh. But you got onions, pickles, which you can't see, lettuce, mayonnaise, ketchup, and Munster cheese. Oh yeah. Now, you might be thinking, what about no french fries, no tater tots? Well, if Q was eating, I would make them. But they take a long time. So instead, potato chips. But those aren't as flavorful. That's true, which is why I got French onion dip. And just in case you think I'm being very unhealthy, Coke Zero. I'm sure that balances out, right? Yeah. All right, I'm going to watch something on my computer. I'll let you. It's about 8:45. I have lost track of how much time I'd spent on it, but I ate dinner, inventoried all my prints. I have 3 different sizes, 4 technically, but one I'm phasing out. I have them all separated. I organized them, put it all away. It's the other thing. After a show, things get all chaotic, and I sort of throw it in the bin and bring it back, and that sometimes I forget to reorganize for the next show, and that causes problems. But so not only did I inventory so I know what to order, but I also organized everything so that all the same prints are together and organized and flat and nice, and I got to put the bins in storage under my bed, but other than that, I'm done, and that's good. I need to buy paper, make prints, get certain of those prints cut. I need to format a couple pins and get those pins made, and I need to make postcards and get those made. All of that, however, is going to have to wait until after I finish the standee, which is my first priority as far as show things go from this point on. Obviously, I've been handling this immediate stuff, just storing it, and so yeah, the standee will be my first priority from this point forward in that realm. It's about 9, so I'm gonna try to get a little bit more drawing done on something, and I'm gonna try to decide. One good thing has nothing to do with that. Look at our old buddy Signalman / Blue Centurion. I figured out that the key, I don't have it, but I can use it. And here's the deal. He does the quick draw, but if you notice, there's a red light here, right? And when I turn it, yellow, green, boom! So it does actually do something, and it cycles back. I'm gonna do this. So it does kind of work. It's a little hard without the key, but it cycles back and forth. I saw somebody had modded it online, Bruno from MMPR Toys actually, where there's LEDs here, and that made me think that would be awesome if I can get some LEDs in there and like hook it up to a power cord and like have it on my shelf light up. That might make it worth having the wrong guy. But in the meantime, I go from red to yellow to punch. From red to yellow, red to yellow to punch. Ba-da-ba-ba. And everything stored in 3 Tupperwares in a box in the closet. Yeah. I talked about this before, how I'd like to get this smaller. I used to have some of it under the bed, but I have other stuff under there now. It's not the worst thing in the world, but I hate having such a huge pile, and I feel there's a way to condense it. And probably that's by limiting my selection and just having 10 or 20 really strong prints and not all the extra stuff and not all the variety of sizes and everything else. But I don't think I'm quite there yet. So for the time being, this is where I'm at. You know what? I think this video is probably getting sufficiently long, and I'm going to go ahead and edit it now. I'm going to end the day. I may or may not do more work or drawing or whatever, but I think there's enough here, and if I do anything of significance, I will let you know tomorrow. If I don't, I will not, because there'll be nothing to tell you. So I will call it an end to today. Today being day 63 of 100 Days of Making Comics, and if today is day 63, well then, you know what that means. Exiting target, we've got 37 days left! That truck is so impressed. I got a notification of a package. Oh, my farts again! Again!